We'll be starting at 10:35 sharp. So meanwhile, people will be waiting कि लोग आ जाए. तब तक के लिए everyone you can switch on your cameras. Let's make this more of an interactive session because when you are talking about VAT, it becomes a lot important, that you can process your flow of thoughts in a very natural manner. And whatever questions or doubts you have, you can put in the chat. You can, maybe raise your hand. We'll take the questions as we go through, right? Just wait for a minute and then we'll start. Well, I think we have a full house. We can start the session now. So everyone is ready? Come on, unmute and do speak.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
guess
sir.
it's a VAT session, right? सबका पहला VAT session है.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
First one.
yes.
Great, 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 great. I think more people are joining in. 8 मिनट में शुरू करते हैं. तब तक let's discuss what is VAT according to you. Anyone can unmute and enlighten the group. What do you think VAT is? Want take the opportunity. कोई unmute करो.
I think that we are given a topic and we have to we have to ideate and express our views regarding that topic, and we need not go extreme, but we just need to explain what like what do we think about that. That is my view.
Who's there? I think Nikunj also raised his hand. Let's see what his thoughts are on this.
Sir, I think it's about expressing your flow of ideas in a certain manner, and they want to test the way you perform when you are given a certain scenario and you need to present your ideas in front of people. Because behind closed doors, one can present any idea they'd like to. But then when it comes about expressing oneself in a public setup, that's when I think they want to test your maybe not exactly your mental strength, but then the way you perform at that juncture.
So I think again, uh, it's close to that. There's no black and white rule as to how to define VAT, what is VAT specifically. But again, once you go into IIMs or these schools, you want to be a manager at the end of the day. And whenever you have those ideas, right, you have to articulate them in the best possible manner. So those articulation not always happen by the way of verbal communication. That also happens via emails, via maybe writing memorandums, proposals, PRDs. If you are into product management, there's a product requirement document that you write. So it has to be clear, concise. You have to communicate whatever you want to, in a very effective manner and briefly too. It cannot go on and on. So that's why we have a concept of VAT. So before you join in, there's this assessment that they want to take, that are you able to communicate your thoughts on varied topics? Sometimes it might be on the weather, write about the weather of Delhi, write about the pollution of Delhi, write about the Indian political scenarios. Or it can be very abstract, like the best day of your life, something like that. So whenever you are thrown a challenge, how well do you take it? How well do you formulate your thoughts and then put it out on the paper? So that's what VAT is all about. I just share my screen so that you can have a look at the deck as well. Is it visible? Everyone can see the deck, right?
Yeah.
अगर बीच में कहीं माय वॉइस ब्रेक्स ऑफ और समथिंग लाइक हैपेंस जहाँ पे दिखना बंद हो जाऊँ, सुनना बंद हो जाऊँ, तो बता दे। ठीक है, put it in the chat, someone I you can say. There might be some page like internet issue that might was for the last 3 4 days. So yes. And before we begin, I hope we have everyone in the house. So I am Ayush and I passed out from IIM Lucknow in 2024 itself. Before that, I was working in for 2 years for a US-based fintech company. And before that, I was at the IT Industry. I did my production engineering from there at my company 2020. Currently, I'm working for Windows Games as a product marketing manager. And yes, this is something, writing is kind of something that has helped me, I mean, crack my interviews, crack my, written tests in campus also. So let's start this session and hope, you will be making the most of this. Cool. So you know who I am. Perfect. And when Pratmesh and Nikul, they said, what is writing ability test? It is basically, to assess your abilities, to organize. We want to test how you organize your thoughts, how you express yourself effectively, how do you articulate yourself. That's what WAT is all about. Because WAT is a very integral process when you talk about B schools, when you talk about any other, top IIMs. Everyone wants to see, how do you write? And it's when we talk about writing, it's about how do you organize your thought process. Because if I say Sunday, the word itself brings in a lot of emotion, memories, uh, other factors, your plans, a good Sunday, a bad Sunday, whatever. But then if the topic is Sunday, how well can you think and, synchronize it in just 200, 300 words? That is the biggest, power of a manager. They can synchronize their thoughts, they can structure their thoughts and effectively communicate what they want to. It also depends on the context that you are writing, talking. So this is all what is tested in WAT. Moving on. So there are some rules, for written ability tests that we'll be seeing. What happens is generally when you appear for these tests, क्या होगा कि 20-30 मिनट का time मिलेगा. In those 20-30 minutes, you have to not only like structure down your thoughts, but you'll have to put them on paper in a good manner. कभी कभी ये ऑनलाइन भी होता है, मोस्टली इन द कॉलेजेस जहाँ पे दोनों सेपरेट होंगे, वैट और पीआई आपका सेपरेट होगा, ये ऑनलाइन भी हो सकता है. लाइक व्हेन आई अपीयर्ड फॉर एसपीएम द वैट प्रोसेस वाज ऑनलाइन, but there will be some offline ones also. Most of the IIMs will see an offline test for that, right? And when we talk about that, यहाँ पे ऐसा होगा कि अगर offline हुआ, then you will be given a couple of A4 sheets at backs. You would be carrying your own pen. That's a basic necessity because the pen you milta hai, but if you want to have a good handwriting and maintain the flair of your writing, it's better to carry your own pen, right? Let's see the rules that we have here. It's like you have to stick to the word limit that is prescribed. It can range from 200 words to 300. Some of the colleges they change the word limit. कभी आपको 150 words देंगे, कभी 400 तक भी जा सकते हैं. So you have to like make sure कि 200 से 300 words का practice आप करते रहो. But when the D-Day comes, you have that ability to maybe curtail down within 200 words also if needed. Sometimes take it up a notch and like take it up to 300 also. So there'll be a minimum word limit also. There'll be a maximum word limit also. And there can be neither of them. Sometimes it will be a time based कि भाई 10 मिनट में जितना तेरे को लिखना है लिख दे. But आप बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं लिख सकते हो. Again, concise होना चाहिए आपका thought process. It should be clear. So that's why. And again, whenever a topic is given, you have to address all the parts of the topic. For example, if you say, your best friend betrayed you, write on this. So अब आप ऐसे नहीं कर सकते कि अपने बेस्ट फ्रेंड के बारे में ही लिख दो या फिर बिट्रेयल के बारे में ही लिख दो कि कोई भी दोस्त आ गया. यू हैव टू सी कि देयर वाज दिस पर्सन हु वाज माय बेस्ट फ्रेंड. I have to establish कि best friend क्यों है. Maybe you had some formidable time together, years that you studied together, spent together, or maybe you had some experiences together कि हाँ मतलब you've been with him or her for in tough periods of time. वहाँ पे you mention हाँ ठीक है भाई person is your best friend. फिर betrayal कहाँ हुआ, and then you talk about friendship a bit. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप कुछ भी पार्ट छोड़ दोगे. Why is वो एक्सपीरियंस वो अच्छा था आपके लिए, खराब था, अपने पार्ट भी आप ऐड करोगे वहाँ। उसके बाद से ऑब्वियसली ग्रामेटिकल एंड स्पेलिंग एरर्स आर अ बिग नो। जब आप ऑफलाइन देने जाते हो, व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि यू कीप ऑन राइटिंग। तो जब आप वहां पे पेन एंड पेपर पे अगर गलती करके आ जाओगे, तो पर्सन विल थिंक नॉर्मली, द पीपल हु चेक इट आर IIM props, B school props, and they want to have someone who, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि they want good vocabulary। ठीक है, इट्स ओके टू हैव अ नॉर्मल vocabulary, बट इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वट एवर यू राइट शुड बी परफेक्ट। ऐसा नहीं कि टुमारो में कुछ भी सिंगल एम डबल एम कंफ्यूज हो गए, वहां पे गलत चुप गया। It's just a very normal thing to make a spelling mistake, but then you have to be above normal। आपको ऐसे गलतियां छोटी मोटी नहीं करनी है, राइट? सो दोज आर द थिंग्स। ग्रामेटिकल मिस्टेक्स कुछ भी ऐसे ही, मतलब व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट टेंसेस, आप पास्ट टेंस, प्रेजेंट टेंस, फ्यूचर, फ्यूचर परफेक्ट, नॉर्मली आप देखो कि इफ यू आर राइटिंग वट एवर यू आर राइटिंग, रीड इट वंस। इफ यू फील कि इट्स नॉट साउंडिंग करेक्ट, डू चेंज इट। दैट्स वन ऑफ द वेज टू गो अबाउट इट, राइट? एंड whenever the time is given, so you'll have to practice accordingly। Practice के time पे put a timer, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, easily break down the। Now let's uh, think कि VAT को approach कैसे करते हैं? Anyone in the house who can tell me how, like, do we approach VAT? Then we'll again share the screen and get going with it। कोई भी? Okay, Abhishek, please।
So the general way to look at it is to like first introduce the topic that is given to us,
Hmm.
and it is good if we can add some facts and figures to it, and then to like add a body to it, like what is the current scenario that is happening or something around it which gives a sense that we are aware of the things that are happening,
Hmm.
and then to conclude it, like the way forward or the things that can lead to in the future.
Perfect। Harbans, you've also raised your hand. Please go on।
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, all. I believe that in the introduction, first of all, we should give a basic idea of what the topic is, or we can also write some quotes if we know about that particular topic. That is giving us a good impression. And then we will go for the body. Body may will go from broad to specific. We'll go, first of all, we'll revolve around the ideas, and then we'll go for the specific details, the examples, the stats that we know, and we'll put the conclusions in a very rational manner. We can make it argumentative, like the pros and cons of a thing, or maybe we can put a one thing. We can be expressive of one idea that we believe in very particularly, and be rational about it. And in the conclusion, we can conclude what we actually wrote everything about in the introduction and body in a very conclusive manner.
Perfect. I think everyone who's spoken, they have actually presented it in a very precise manner. There are three aspects to a VAT, just three: the introduction, body, and then the final one, conclusion. In the introduction, you try to just mention what is your understanding of it. Then in the body, you dwell deeper into it. You maybe use codes, use facts, use figures. Then you lay down some arguments as and when the topic demands. And then you go on to the conclusion that, okay, maybe just thing, demonetization, was it good or bad? I hope you all are aware about demonetization, right? So if a topic comes like that, so you'll have to make sure to give a good introduction. What was demonetization? You have to mention that that the currencies were phased out. It was done in a very fast manner. There was people were given a week's time, whatever you mentioned. What is demonetization? Then who announced it, when the person announced it, give a context to it in the introduction. The person who is reading it has a context, okay? So they'll understand, how are you setting the stage for the entire writing. Now, when you complete this introduction, now is the time when you start talking about your opinions. Maybe, it is good or bad. So it's like you start thinking the demonetization was good because there was a lot of corruption going on. It was good because um, maybe there was a lot of currency in circulation, which led to fake currency in circulation over there. if people say, "Nahi, it wasn't good because it was, it created panic among the people, it was unplanned as such." So there'll be, too much pros and cons out there. So when you think, just jot down on a piece of paper, see what are your thoughts, what are your opinions, what are your arguments. So first, for the first couple of minutes, whenever you see a topic, take a rough sheet पे, keep on writing. कि भाई, this is something that I'm able to remember about this. And for the next 1 minute, you'll be able to think, कि इसको structure कैसे करते हैं. इंट्रोडक्शन तो मैं लिख दूंगा, बट व्हाट आर द आर्ग्यूमेंट्स को मैं कैसे लिखूँ. तो दे आर टाइम्स व्हेन, मतलब ये बहुत इंडिविजुअल कॉल है कि आप पूरा प्रो जाओ या पूरा कॉम पे जाओ कि ठीक है, आई डोंट लाइक इट ऐसा. बट देन यू विल हैव टू गिव अ बैलेंसिंग आर्ग्यूमेंट इन द इंट्रोडक्शन, so that the person who's reading it knows that you're a level-headed person. It's not that you get biased very easily. If you're mentioning that, these are the things that make it a very good mood, you'll also have to mention, that like there were some things that could have been done in a better manner. Maybe it could have been planned in a better manner, announced in a better manner, or executed in a better manner. Some things like those. And then when you will be going in the conclusion, you'll have to, that is the part where you'll have to take a proper stand. Like, in spite of all the issues, I believe the demonetization was a good move, something like this. If you are against it, तो आप बोलोगे कि yes, it was maybe a necessary evil, but it could have been planned better. So I believe that demonetization wasn't right at that time. It could have been done in future with a better planning by the finance minister or the prime minister or the IPI. You need to mention it in that order. So जब भी ये introduction body conclusion आता है, it's very important that you follow this type of thing, especially if you have a flair of writing, easy. बट इफ यू डोंट हैव दैट वे ऑफ राइटिंग, मोस्टली मतलब इंजीनियर्स के साथ होता है ना, हम लोग वैसे अभी वी आर नॉट इनटू राइटिंग वेरी मच, बट कभी कभी ये हो जाता है कि टॉपिक दे दिया एंड वी आर ब्लैंक, क्या करें. सो इंजीनियरिंग में वी यूज्ड टू ब्रेक थिंग्स डाउन, राइट. मैथ्स में जस्ट ब्रेक थिंग्स डाउन इनटू डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स, देन सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम. सिमिलर है यहाँ पे, बैट को ब्रेक इट, इंट्रो बॉडी कंक्लूजन, 3 पार्ट्स हैं, तीनों पार्ट से आपको लड़ना है एंड तीनों को देन एक कंजंक्शन में डालना है. दैट्स हाउ यू गो. Anyone has any doubt with respect to how to tackle that? Because abhi, since it's the first session, होगा, but you have to, अगर आपको कुछ ऐसा doubt है कि, because अभी भी I believe in the last few weeks before you joined BCP, CAT के बाद से you must have been preparing for, WAT. कम से कम देख रहे हो कि structure कैसे होता है WAT PI. So if you have any doubts, you can unmute and ask. जी वो कोई
Good
doubt
evening,
नहीं
sir. Actually, I have my name is Hardik and I have a doubt.
है.
Sir, regarding while I write any essay, so I have an issue of like navigating different kind of grammatical errors or maybe restructuring it properly. My thoughts are not aligned. Like I have many thoughts, but to combine into a shorter form to restructure it becomes a bit of a trouble. Then how to overcome that? That becomes an hassle for me.
When you are surrounded by a lot of thoughts, what you'll have to do, I think I mentioned it a few minutes ago, write it down on a piece of paper, right? Once you write it down on a piece of paper, you'll be able to think it, ठीक है, ये 5 points हैं यहाँ पे. But after these 5 points, these three are the more effective ones. If you don't write it on a piece of paper and just start writing about it, what happens is that you have a word limit of 250, say. आपने पहले 3 पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं यार, 150 वर्ड्स आप क्रॉस कर गए. नाउ यू हैव गुड पॉइंट्स बट यू विल हैव शॉर्टेज ऑफ वर्ड्स, कॉन्स्टेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा रहेंगे वहाँ पे. यू वोंट बी एबल टू प्रॉपरली राइट इट, राइट. यू वोंट बी एबल टू मेंशन इट. सो आपके इफेक्टिव पॉइंट्स दैट वुड हैव गॉट यू मोर मार्क्स वो नहीं आ पाएंगे. तो इट्स बेटर टू राइट इट डाउन. वट एवर आपके पास 10 पॉइंट है, 10 के 10, जस्ट मेक अ नोट, ठीक है, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then think, what should I like include in my final writing? Should it be the first one, second one, third one? आप prioritize कर दो उसको, P0 क्या है, P1 क्या है, P2 क्या है. Then it will help you make properly आप structure कर पाओगे, prioritize कर पाओगे. That's the most important thing, and that's what I mean.
Yes, sir. Now I have picture how to frame. Then I'll work upon it.
Great. Anyone else? Rishi has his hand up. Please, Rishi.
Hi, sir. So, like, we don't know if we will be given more than one topics. for what PI. So what if I have really less really less points on that particular topic. So how should we deal with that?
So again, for example, चलो demonetization उठा लेते हैं. Let's keep it talking about. So you are saying Rishi कि अगर demonetization पे तुम्हें मिल गया and you don't know about demonetization, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yes, sir.
और फिर तुम्हें लिखना है. So now again, demonetization. There are certain things like to put it for put it out there that you should be expected to find.
Yes, sir. We will be going through current affairs, and mostly the topics will be from the same. But what if something that I didn't know
हाँ
came?
तो ये आता है and this happens. मतलब ठीक है. I empathize with you. Uh, there'll be people जो engineers हैं उनके लिए there's a topic economics नहीं पढ़ा हमने. अब आ गया कि hand of God बताओ या invisible hand. The invisible hand is like one of the most famous topics जो आते रहता है in that. अब आपको पता ही नहीं है कि क्या है ये. You'll be like phased out कि what is invisible hand. So now you'll have to like think कि tackle कैसे करें. You don't need to know economics. Now think about writing generally. Abstract topic जब आप practice करोगे ना, this will help you in like these kinds of situation, like a bright day or a starry night. इन सब topics पे whenever you start writing, तब आपको पता चलेगा कि how to handle the things. Like invisible hand पे अगर आपको लिखना हो तो if you don't know economics, आपको पता ही नहीं है कि concept होता है. So up in visible hand, maybe you can write about blessings of elders, the importance of elders in your life, how their blessing is an invisible hand for you. Invisible hand can be help of a friend in times of need. Like you have to use that creative angle to get out of all the entanglements that are put in front of you. आपको उसमें फंसना नहीं है बीच में कि यार इनविजिबल हैंड लिया कैसे लिखूं. राइट. सो इसके लिए एब्स्ट्रैक्ट टॉपिक्स पे अपन काफी राइटिंग की टॉपिक्स आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे. वील आल्सो बी एनालाइजिंग इट एंड हेल्पिंग यू आउट टू improve it in the coming time. So you'll have to think and practice on those steps तभी आपको मतलब you'll be able to like navigate these situations very easily. It's very important कि आप करंट अफेयर्स वाली चीजें पढ़ लो कि ठीक है इन द लास्ट 2 years ये चीजें हुई हैं. बट हाँ देयर विल बी लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स कि आपको नहीं पता. बट देन हो जाएगा. चलिए we'll be practicing it and we'll be making sure that we don't like fall in such traps. And Nikhil has asked, what about handwritings? How much does it matter when I'm writing in a hurry? My handwriting starts degrading. Yes, that is an issue. Your handwriting does matter. Okay. You don't need to like write very beautifully, but it should be legible. Legibility is a very important thing. And I agree. Even I faced that issue. Yeah, कि मतलब I start writing like it's calligraphy, and then when I end up writing my essays or in exam, it ends up in Urdu or Arabic. So that's the flow of my handwriting. So I can empathize. Now, you don't need to take calligraphy classes. Come on, it's fine. You need to do that. But आप जब भी होगा ना basic level पे practice. That's why WAT or TI. Everything boils down to one thing. It's practice. Howsoever well can you articulate your thoughts, express them, be concise, clear. But if you cannot put them well on the paper, वहाँ पे सब चीज खत्म हो जाता है. आपको नहीं, no one does handwriting analysis, but then it should be legible. You should be able to write. If I'm writing Ayush, it should look like Ayush. It should not stop at AYUS and it should be somewhere like an F. It should be legible. Proper words लिख दो आप चलेगा कोई दिक्कत नहीं. So that's why when you practice, आपको practice करते रहना होगा pen and paper पे. What happens is that if you are working up pen and paper पे बहुत कम लिखना हो जाता है. Like I've also been facing that issue for the past. So if I take a pen and a paper and start writing, it will look like I'm a fool. I don't know. But then you will have to practice a bit. It's more than a month. And जब आपका पहला बैट स्टार्ट होगा, you can easily do a good handwriting even अगर आपने लिखा है. So that your muscle memory has to kick in. That's it. 20 minutes writing तो आपकी क्लियर हो. अभी if you start writing ना पहले 5 बैट में आपकी उंगलियां दर्द करने लगेगी. But when you go to your 50th bat, things will improve and improve for a very good reason. Someone had asked, do they penalize heavily on crossing the word limit? So if it's an online bat, Ashutosh, It's if it's an online bet, what happens is the word limit वो limited space ही रहता है. You cannot exceed that. 250 is the limit. There's a software जिस पे आप लिखते रहोगे, उसमें ग्रामरली वगैरह सब वो डिसेबल कर देते हैं, तो वो 250 पे खुद ही रुक जाएगा. There won't be any space that you can write. When you go for an offline one, it will be like they'll give you a sheet of paper, maybe two sheets, and they do have an idea, right? If they are taking it from hundreds of people, 200 people, those sheets of paper, सब लोग एक एक पन्ने पे लिख रहे हैं ना, both sides of A4 sheet for that matter. You've written four sides or two and a half. तो उनको कुछ तो पता चलेगा ही कि हाँ ठीक है, you exceeded. They get an idea कि whenever you write, it becomes very evident along with other written papers कि if you've exceeded the limit on it. So like keep that in mind. Don't cross it too much. A few words here and there, maybe maybe if you want to conclude and you have a great thing in mind, कि चलो let's do this. तो कर दो यार, एक line ऐसे doesn't matter that much. Anyone else?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Like, बताओ.
Sir, do we get choice of like two, three topics to select and write one, or just single topic to write?
In most of the cases, you will get a choice. So that comes to your rescue. But in some, you might not. Like for example, NMIMS does not give you a choice as far as when I appeared for the process. They did not do that. SPGen also did not give me a choice. But then there are some B schools who are benevolent enough to lend out a helping hand or an invisible hand. maybe लिख लो भाई, तुम्हें जो समझ में आता है. They'll be topic में भी current affair पे रहेगा, abstract रहेगा, opinionated रहेगा. Then you'll have to think कि ठीक है कौन सा लिखे. So that again, जब आप practice करोगे 50-60 lakhs when you write down the line, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि you are good at abstract topic or you are good at maybe the opinionated ones or you are good at current affair ones. यहाँ पे facts and figures आप quote करके लिख सकते हो. If you're not good with very much facts and figures, maybe try abstract ones. Aditya, you have raised your hand.
So sorry to interrupt, sir. So it's basically like the ZAT essay only, no? So which we used to
Yeah.
write after the exam.
कह सकते हो, मतलब again that's also a written ability test, right? Aditya, you can go
Oh,
and start.
yes. First of all, good evening, sir.
Good
I
evening.
wanted to ask, like, if there is a topic which is a debatable, like, it is
Mhm.
more of a, do you agree with this or not?
Yeah.
A statement is given, and then at last it is like we have to express our views. So can we be neutral? Like, can we be in both sides? We tell the pros as well as cons, or we have to be towards a side. We have to choose a side.
A very beautiful and an important question when we are talking about that. Thank you, Aditya, for bringing this up. It's very important to have an opinion because I believe that once you go out there as a manager, there'll be situations when you'll have to take sides, when you'll have to do a data-driven decision, when sometimes you have to put things into context and think that you have to take a stand. So वहाँ पे you in that it's always good to have an opinion, be leaned on one of the sides. You shouldn't be straight away neutral. You don't have to tread the neutral path हमेशा, because then they'll be like यार you are playing safe. जब आपको डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा कि यार एक कंपनी या एक प्रोडक्ट, कंपनी तो चलो बड़ी बात है, एज अ प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर और एज अ मार्केटिंग मैनेजर और किसी भी उसमें इफ यू आर मतलब अगर आपको अपना खुद का प्रोडक्ट बंद करना पड़े तो क्या आप कर सकते हो? या वहाँ भी न्यूट्रल हो जाओगे कि नहीं 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 करना है? होता है, मतलब यू विल हैव टू बी कि ठीक है आई एम क्लोजिंग ऑन दिस प्रोडक्ट बिकॉज मेट्रिक्स नहीं था, लोग नहीं आए, व्हाटएवर. या नहीं मतलब आई वांट टू डू मोर टेस्टिंग दिस और दैट, यू हैव टू टेक अ स्टैंड. तो जब भी ऐसे ओपिनियनेटेड आती है थोड़ा ओपिनियन लेना चाहिए. हाँ, बट देयर आर सम इश्यूज जहाँ पे अ न्यूट्रल लाइन हेल्प्स. फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू टॉक अबाउट कि आए आ सकता है बैठ में कि बाबरी मस्जिद डेमोलिशन हुआ, ये सही था या गलत था. Now you'll have to take a यहाँ पे diplomatic or a neutral line so that it does not सामने वाले को ये ना लगे कि you're very much towards one of those ideologies.
Opinionated, like we are not very much opinionated.
Right?
Getting it.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Uh, Cool. So we'll cover all the questions and I'll just take you back to the types of VAT that we have, so that again we can do a more productive meeting. I'll share my screen again. I'll just take you through what are the VATs that we have, and then we'll come back again. Cool. So when we talk about VATs, there are these opinion-based topics. Like, you have to take a stance on this issue. And then you can't say, if it's written good or bad, mostly आपको stance लेना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, नहीं लोगे तो मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि दुनिया जहाँ हिल जाएगा, but then the person won't be impressed. He'll be like, इतना safe नहीं खेलना चाहिए, right? Like for example, अभी ट्रम्प का ही ले लो, ट्रम्प जीत गया and things happened. So is Trump a good president or a bad president? What do you think? Trump will be a good president or a bad president? So you have to maybe take a stance कि ठीक है as a, because यहाँ पे आप बहुत ही neutral observer हो, but still you will have those opinions कि नहीं, I think he can be good, he has good relation with the corporate, like economy सुधरेगा, bank में there will be some good measures that will be taken, or you can say कि नहीं, he will come and disturb the social structure, immigration issues will be there, he's someone who does not is rational while talking, so he might be a very bad president. You can maybe quote instances from the past and stuff, but then तुम्हारा opinion बहुत ज़्यादा test होगा इसमें, right? You can use facts, figures इसमें, but then even if you don't use instances, आप will be like doing. Then there are abstract topics. Abstract topics as in a starry night, the best day of your life, the worst day of your life, the happiest moment of your life, right? Or again, as I said, कि your best friend betrayed you, something like that. Then current affairs, demonetization हो गया, Russia Ukraine हो गया. There are a lot of things that goes in and out आजकल. So you have to be keep reading a lot of news, keep listening to a lot of YouTube videos जहाँ पे they talk about current affairs like study IS वगैरह. They are very important, to keep track of what's going on a daily basis. अब आपसे ये नहीं पूछा जाएगा कि COP26 हुआ था, वहाँ पे क्या क्या बात हुई थी, there was this climate taxing, इतना ज़्यादा deep में तो one expert they do expect कि you do know कि रशिया यूक्रेन चल रहा है तो कब से चल रहा है, which side you are on, they might ask, but you should have an idea current affairs के बारे में कि हाँ ठीक है. When you talk about case based scenarios, अब case based scenarios what happens कि ये चीज बहुत कम जगह पूछे जाते हैं, but then IIM अहमदाबाद इज वन ऑफ दोज इंस्टीट्यूशंस जहाँ पे केस बेस्ड सिनारियोज दिए जाते हैं. इससे ज़्यादा मतलब बहुत कम रहता है जहाँ पे बीच बीच में यू गेट केस बेस्ड सिनारियोज. इसमें यू क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग विल लाइक गिव यू अ गुड बूस्ट. इफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर दैट, आप लोग डिसीजन मेकिंग बहुत अच्छे से करना, बिकॉज दैट्स गोना हेल्प यू इन दिस केस बेस्ड सिनारियो वाली थिंग. बिकॉज वहाँ पे you will think कि ठीक है, these are the values that I need to keep in mind, these are the facts and figures that I need to keep in mind. वहाँ पे proper आपको cases वगैरह दिए जाएंगे. And in the coming session हम case based scenarios पे भी will keep a session to help you navigate uh, on those specifically. But most of the facts are focused on opinion based, abstract based and current affairs based. There are certain pointers that need to be taken care of while you are doing these facts. It can, it's like, as I said, you have to analyze the topic before starting, take a rough sheet, think, break the topic down. ठीक है, what does the topic want from me? Take the keywords, कि ठीक है, demonetization हो गया, या ट्रम्प के बारे में जानना हो गया, रशिया यूक्रेन हो गया. You need to think about it. कि ठीक है, this is something that you need to like put on the paper. Rough sheet लो, वहाँ पे put a rough flow. When you put a rough flow, आपको पता चलेगा कैसे prioritize करना है. Once you prioritize, then you can start putting it in the context of intro, body, and system. Right. Two, three things that maybe एक आप mention में handwriting काफी जरूरी है. ठीक है. If you can use data, facts and figures, well and good. But ऐसा नहीं कि data के नाम पे कुछ भी लिख दिया. There have been instances in the past when people are blasted in the PIs क्योंकि उन्होंने लिख दिया कि भाई GDP ग्रोथ 10% हो रहा है इंडिया का. कहाँ से हो रहा है, कब हो रहा है, when was that 10%, किस क्वार्टर में था, किस फाइनेंशियल ईयर में था, याद नहीं, कहीं सुना होगा, लिख दिया. तो हियर से वाली जितनी चीजें आपने सुनी है कुछ चीजों पे मत जाओ. वट एवर यू रिमेंबर परफेक्टली, ठीक है, that India got independence in 1947 is a fact. It's a fact. But GDP अगर आपको याद है perfectly, please write. It's gonna help you. Bonus में मतलब bonus points ऐसे specifically नहीं मिलता, but it gives a very good impression सामने वाले. Then avoid using jargons or overly complex sentences because again they see your ability to be clear and concise while you're talking, while you're writing those things. तो आप कितना ज़्यादा लेमैन को समझा सकते हो सामने वाले को. So they also read it from perspective कि ठीक है, if I don't know about monetization, will I be able to understand? If you start writing complex financial terms, economical terms over there, नहीं समझेगा. So you'll have to like simplify. If you're someone who's very good at writing, don't overdo with everything. So don't have to overdo. It's just a written assessment test. You आपके basics सही होने चाहिए. You can do it like pretty well. Then again, proofread your response before submission, especially online ones. Written में है कि you still have the paper, आप देखोगे कुछ वो कर सकते हो फिर भी. Online में it's like यार अगर गलतियां हो रही है ना, मतलब सबमिट कर दिया आपने या टाइम पर खत्म हो गया तो इट विल बी टेकन अवे. Offline, you might have a few seconds. That's what I'm saying. But again, proofreading is important. लग रहा है कि आपकी गलती हुई है, maybe take up there. Put a neat, strikes into it. Write whatever sentence or word that is. Where grammatical गलती हुई है, कुछ spelling mistakes हुई है. Cool. I'll get back to your questions now. I hope you got the gist of the what's what are the topics that are there out there. I think Aditya has his hands up. Oh yes, Aditya, please.
So I wanted to ask, like, as you mentioned that, like, if we have some data or some statistics for
Hmm.
the topic, on the topic, so we have to mention, we have to
Yes.
be like precise on it. But can we, like, if we know that the GDP was like around 7% GDP growth of India, we don't have the exact, so
If
can we
the
be
GDP is 6.5 to 7.5, yes, please go on and write it.
okay?
It's fine.
So
I mean, the
you can give a
population of
range type,
India,
right?
if you talk about the population of India, you don't know exactly. Like, even I don't know the exact population of India in terms of 130 crore, 140 crore. Everyone keeps on writing. So you can write 130 crore, 140 crore, around 130 crore, around 140. But then there are certain things that you cannot like fumble upon. You cannot say that the population of India is 90 or 100 crore. That would be a gross
Got
misrepresentation of the facts and figures. So if you're writing,
got it, sir.
you know the ballpark figure, if you're sure about it, then maybe mention approximately around something like that. But if you're
Yes.
not very sure about it, try to maybe avoid it, right? Because these are the PIs. Someone was even asking in the chat, and are these read in the PIs? Sometimes yes. And if there's an there's a probability of sometimes, you should think that the 100% chance है आपका भी आ सकता है. So think कि it's not sometimes, it always. Most of the time वो पढ़ लेते हैं. Sometimes they ask you question. They do form an opinion कि ठीक है the person is well balanced. So ठीक है we won't be discussing this. We'll be discussing something else. अगर उनको दिखा कि भाई there is something that we need to test this person upon, maybe आपके opinions पे हो या फिर they like your opinions, they want to test you even further. Depends on the professor who's reading it. They can go on and like do that. They very well love to. So be ready कि whatever you're writing, you got to defend it. तो जब आप वहाँ पे ballpark figures लेके जाओगे, तो those ballpark figures should actually be ballpark figures and not leave out of it. तो उसका बस थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना. I think we have Sudhanshu sir in the house as well.
Hi,
Hello.
everybody. I am hoping that you're all having fun, and I'm hoping that you've noted, the key inputs, from Ayush as well. He has been a part of family. He was part of, our preparation journey in the past as well. I remember, doing interviews with him at 3 a.m. in the morning as well. Back in time, so that's the story, the backstory that we had. And obviously, amongst the lot, all the key mentors who have been a part of postcat prep, I think he's the best of all in terms of literature, in terms of writing. I don't know whether he told you or not, but he's also into poetry. He was part of the literature club at IIM Lucknow as well. So, and obviously for people who know about Manifest Valchasva, which is one of the biggest student organized events that happen at B schools. He's also an organizer of. He was also an organizer of Manifest for Chaswa back at college. So a lot of fun elements that Ayush brings to the table, apart from the unique element of writing things very well. So yeah, so I'm hoping that yes, passing on to you, Ayush. I'm only listening to you.
Thank you so much for that. Well, sir was benign and kind enough for that introduction. But such a fun. I'm a fun person, but yeah, great. I've been thanks, thank you, sir, for like making me a part of the PCP family. And obviously, I was blessed enough to be your student, and I'm still your student. वो तो आपको पता है. I always come back running to you for different stuff. हमेशा.
We are now friends. We have done so much party together. So we are in fact meeting again this Sunday for another small party that we are hosting. Yeah, so a lot of fun. I think most of us will become friends in the time to come. So let's prepare well, let's get into the top colleges, and then let's celebrate it together.
But then for that, we have to put in a lot of hard work and a lot of practice in the coming days. And उसकी तैयारी यार वैट से ही शुरू होगी. वैट भी we'll have to practice. हर दिन एक वैट लिखो, तभी जाके by the end of by mid Jan or end of Jan you'll be equipped enough कि कोई topic लिख के हमारा you'll be ready to take it on. आराम से लिखो. I'll just go back again to the types of it. I think some of you had questions on it. So if you have any question, you can just unmute and ask. Some people were putting in the chat that they wanted to see the types of that once again. Okay, do we have any questions?
Sir, I wanted to ask something. Whenever the essays aren't very factual and universal in nature, and we are asked to describe a particular experience, now experiences being so personal, let's say you were a part of I Am Lucknow, something that may have happened to you may not be relatable to somebody else. You may think that I am drafting my essays in a particular manner that is understandable, that is really, really open-ended. But many a times it happened to me that I tried to describe an experience which I may have had and many people may not have had. And in those circumstances, should we be avoiding getting too specific? Or if, let's say, we have a choice on the topics given in the exam, we shouldn't be picking up topics that are really very descriptive in nature.
See, I have a different take on that. I agree that can be an issue. But what happens is the ability, to articulate yourself, the ability to express in order to make someone else understand what you want to say. That's an art, right? If you feel that maybe you're not able to do that, ठीक है, my experience at I am Lucknow, I'm not able to express it in words in terms ki, I love to party, I love to organize space, I love poetry. If I'm not writing it in the manner that someone relates to it, maybe I should avoid it.
Okay.
Fine. But if I can, try to simplify it, say, who doesn't love to party? So did I. Everyone
Okay.
wants to be heard. Everyone wants to be heard. So that's why I took up poetry. I wanted to command the attention of the crowd. Something like
Okay.
that. If you're good with words, you can do it. But if you feel, that you're not able to do it, or it's a roadblock, try practicing. But if you have another option where you want to deal with facts and figures, well and good. Again, that's a test of your like how well do you choose between the topics. That's why the topics are given. Right. I hope that answers me.
And it shouldn't be too wordy, and it shouldn't be as if that I'm getting into the depth of it, right? I should be trying to avoid and just make it a little general. Like you said, that who doesn't like to party, instead of getting into too specifics of it, that what exactly happened in that party and etc. etc.
Exactly. I mean, you can do that. Also, you can say, why were you partying?
Okay.
Were you placed,
Thank you.
or something good happened in your life, or generally, if someone else was placed, or was it a normal party, stuff and stuff. जो सबको समझ में आए in that manner.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Karan has raised his hand. Yes, Karan.
Hi, good evening, sir. Good evening, all. Sir, like my question is about some abstract topics. Like, as example, you said कि your best friend betrayed you is a kind of abstract topic. सो मतलब इस टॉपिक के अंदर व्हाट वी कैन राइट इन अ बॉडी, मतलब क्योंकि ओपिनियन बेस्ड, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एंड इन केस बेस्ड वी कैन लाइक form something in a like to write in a body, but in abstract में ऐसा वो चीज like how to write that in abstract topic.
Abstract के लिए again you have to practice creative writing, right? A practice
Okay.
means like for example best day of your life. So best day of your life में what can be the body? Think about it. You have to explain the day. ठीक है, why it was best, what happened, why do you think it was the best day, why not any other day, something like that. तो आप दिन के बारे में बता सकते हो या फिर बता सकते हो उस दिन में ऐसा क्या हुआ. Like for example, the day I got my IIM Lucknow result, that was one of the best days of my life. Why? Because it was maybe one of the best achievements that I've had in my life, something like that. Or maybe when I was placed, that was the best day in my life. You can say कि हाँ interview was
Okay.
a lot of challenges, but you have to go through it. Abstract में यही है. A sunny day, the day was sunny. अब you can decide कि ठीक है आप you can write about कि कितनी धूप थी, उस पे भी द बॉडी कैन बी अ पार्ट ऑफ इट, डिपेंड्स ऑन हाउ यू वांट टू आर्टिकुलेट. सेकंड यू कैन से कि बहुत ज्यादा सनी घूमता है, चलो मैं निकला ही नहीं, मैं घर पे एसी ऑन करके टीवी सीरीज देखा. इट कैन अगेन बी अ सनी डे. तुम निकले, तुम थोड़ा देर, फिर यू स्टार्ट यू सेड कि नहीं, आई डोंट वांट टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दैट सनी डे. यू वांट टू डिफाइन योर ओन डे. यू कैन लाइक बी विद अगेन घुमा फिरा के, मतलब वट एवर यू वांट टू से, वो मेन कॉन्टेक्स्ट बॉडी में आना चाहिए. दैट विल कम व्हेन यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग.
Okay,
Priyash,
so
you
like
that
it
question. हाँ करें तो
uh,
बोलो.
yes sir, so like it's basically abstract topic में like majorly our point of view in the body,
हाँ
like
मतलब
what
that's
we
why
think about
that's
that.
why it's abstract. You can take it
Yeah,
in any
okay.
tangent possible. अगर तुम सनी डे को डे एट होम बना सकते हो, राइट,
Yes sir,
कुछ भी कर
got it.
सकते हो. You can play with the word. I will take some
Thank you sir.
example topics over here and then we'll try to think कि कैसे कर सकते हैं. Right. Social media does not does more harm than good. If anyone wants to take a stab at this. Does anyone want to take a stab at this?
Sir, can you repeat the topic, please?
It's on the screen. If you can see, social media does more harm than good. Okay, tell me, like if you think it does more harm, how many of you do think, that it's like it's harmful? I think we do have a like few hands up. Habansh, we want to take a like shot at the topic.
Yes, sir. I cannot like on the spot make the full essay on it, but I can understand how will I go about it.
Hmm.
First of
Good
all,
topic.
yes, sir. First of all, in the introduction, I'll explain like the advent of social media, like how it came into existence, like in the 1990s. I'll just mention a bit about how it came into existence and how it is proliferating, right? And then in the body, I will go in that I'll write this line again that social media, yeah, paraphrase it, that social media does more harm than good. And then I'll write about the cons of the social media. For example, it provides like it leaks informations, it provides wrong informations, it leads to instigations in some public arenas. And then I'll mention some of the facts and figures or some instances from the real life, how it actually did. Maybe I'll mention some personal instance also that I feel that it happened to me. And when I'm concluding, I'll just write that yes, it does some harm, but it has also like also helped the people. I'll just give a positive outlook also for this, for getting a bit of balance in this. And then I'll go on to the conclusion that social media is just a tool that a human can use, and it's just depend upon the usage of a particular thing, and that's how I let.
That's a very nice way to go about it. The only suggestion, for everyone is that you see, she like put out the points in a very good manner. She articulated it pretty well. But you should have also, maybe pointed out to some of the instances. Like if you are mentioning like 3 or 4 factors why it is bad, like it instigates, it gives out wrong information. What type of wrong information? Maybe, when maybe while writing, do give some examples. When you give those, instances, examples, people will know that your knowledge is not a surface level knowledge. You know things in a in depth. जब आप बोलते हो instigate हुआ, maybe talk about Delhi riot, maybe talk about any other riot that happened in which social media played a part. Talk about how WhatsApp is being misused, why how Facebook groups are being misused, or Instagram for that matter. Like you have to also, when you're talking about social media, a very important part that was left is do tell, who are what is social media, it's fine. Who are the major players? Facebook, like Meta is a major player, Google is a major player, right? So you have to bring in some of the players too. These are the players. Up you start with your pros and cons. तब जाके और मजा आता है. It is a good attempt, obviously. In the meantime, everyone will. The sky is not the limit. It's an abstract topic. Does anyone want to take a shot at it? The sky is not the limit. There were a lot of
So,
hands for a few minutes ago. Suddenly, everything went quiet. The sky is not the limit. Anyone?
sir, I'll take a shot at it.
Hmm.
So, whenever humans have underestimated their own abilities, history bears it that inventions have just been on the uptrend because we thought at a time that our ancestors were cavemen, but that thought process in itself was very limiting and inhibiting. As we developed, new technology came in, everything just changed at the drop of a hat. And even now that we think that inventions are not possible, you see that our young generation, the kind of inventions that we are making, especially if I were to give an example, when we say sky is not the limit, you see that the green evolution that is happening, we thought that our non-renewable sources of energy was the only option that we had. But if you look at it right now, especially people from the tech background and from science background, they are actually making jaw-dropping inventions. I mean, harnessing energy from something, let's say like a paper straw or something. I mean, these kind of technologies and innovations have actually enhanced the way we live and enhanced our vision for what we thought wouldn't have been possible. And if you see the technological growth, especially in the last 20 years, you can make out that sky is definitely not the limit because from a time when Charles Babbage invented the world of computers, it was like an entire building that was being occupied. Today, you see we have 1 TB of data in just about, let's say, 2 inches worth of size. So it's really shocking and commendable at the same time that the rate which you are going, you can figure out that someday humans would, I mean, the artificial intelligence would be at par with humans. And I'm pretty sure that in terms of the emotional question, someday, maybe very far dated in the future, it's just an idea right now, but they may have emotions too. So you can definitely see sky is not the limit.
Perfect way to go about it. That's how, for uh, abstract topic, this is one of the best articulation that you can have. Good going, Nichols. Definitely,
Thank you.
the abstract
Excuse me,
topic
sir.
is something that, you should start working on. If you get a
Thank you,
topic,
sir.
Excuse me, sir.
right, John.
Thank you.
Someone asked me, social media's role पे someone said, Karan ने बोला sir, कि isn't it more beneficial to go in a diplomatic way? Yeah, social media is good or bad, यहाँ पे diplomacy की जरूरत है ही नहीं. This is a topic जहाँ पे you should have an opinion. But personally, मेरे से पूछा, I go out on one leg and defend कि it's not bad. There are several issues that exist in the society, but there are several guardrails and mechanisms to stop them. If there is cyberbullying, we have like cyber cell. We have a lot of reporting mechanisms. Meta has been been working a lot on this. Google has been working a lot establishing guardrails and stuff. Social media, maybe how important the role of a civil society or the society at large. We come out and control social media usage. We should teach, what the proper usage of social media should be. There's a lot of material to read, write, and discuss. It gives you a freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and stuff. उस मामले में यहाँ पे आई कैन गो आउट एंड से कि हाँ होती है खराब चीजें बट देन सर्टेन थिंग जहाँ पे हम उसको रोक सकते हैं एंड वी डोंट नीड एनी अदर इंटरवेंशन हम एज अ सोसाइटी ही रोक सकते हैं उसको ह्यूमर्स है नहीं फैलाना है भाई ऐसे मतलब थोड़ा सा उस टाइप से इन सब चीज़ों पे डिप्लोमेटिक होने की कोई जरूरत है ही नहीं यहाँ पे अगर आप डिप्लोमेटिक हो गए तो फिर बढ़िया लगेगी आपके इंटरव्यू में पूछेंगे भाई तू मतलब क्यों इसमें क्यों डिप्लोमेटिक बना है या तो अच्छा या तो खराब है राइट तुम्हारे एक्सपीरियंस में, इफ यू लव सोशल मीडिया, डू यू यूज इंस्टा, ऐसे बोलेंगे, तुम बोलोगे हाँ 2 घंटे चलाता हूँ, बोलेंगे तब तो तुम्हें लिखना चाहिए अच्छा है, तो तुमने खराब क्यों लिखा? तुम बोलोगे 5 मिनट भी नहीं चलाता हूँ, तो तुम बोलेंगे कि भाई खराब लिखना चाहिए था, अच्छा क्यों लिखा? देयर इज नो मिडिल लाइन ना, या तो चलाते ही नहीं हो, नहीं तो चलाते हो या नहीं चलाते, इट्स either 0 or 1 काइंड ऑफ थिंग। जब बाइनरी में आती है चीजें, then आप ऐसा मिडिल पाथ नहीं ट्रेड कर सकते। कूल। There's another question. There's another topic.
So
Impact
sorry
of,
to interrupt. Sir.
yeah. Someone was saying something.
Yes, sir. Aditya. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, like, okay, like you said in social media, can we start by just listing out the pros and cons, and after that, shifting our, like tending towards the our opinion, whatever we
And
think.
you can do that, obviously. I mean, but then the pros and cons do form a part of your opinion also, and it's
Like, will
generally,
it sound like a bit ambiguity in our mind, like we are confused or not sure about that?
हाँ
Will it
बहुत ज्यादा
sound like that?
डिप्लोमेटिक होने पे एम्बिग्विटी दिखती है कि भाई, मतलब एम्बिग्विटी नहीं है, मतलब इट्स लाइक यू आर नॉट एबल टू डिसाइड, वो एम्बिग्विटी नहीं है। एम्बिग्विटी हो जाएगा कि मैं बोलने लगूँ सोशल मीडिया से मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन होता है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन हरवंश मेंशन्ड 5 6 points, then I know कि ठीक है, there's no ambiguity, she has a lot of points, she knows what she wants to say, she would have
Okay.
expressed it granularly. But if someone keeps on saying एक ही चीज कि ठीक है, people instigate social media से, there's a lot of rumors, फिर वो instigation पे ही लिखेगा, फिर rumor पे ही लिखेगा, instigation पे ही लिखेगा, that's what an ambiguous is कि भाई ये कहना क्या चाहते हो, बताओ, you have to go out and say कि ठीक है, instigation हो रहा है these platforms, इसको रोकना चाहिए, something like that, right? There's one topic that we'll discuss in brief: the impact of artificial intelligence on employment opportunities. So when you have topic like this, so you have to have idea ki, ठीक है, what is artificial intelligence? How is it, taking a toll on the opportunities that are out there? I would like to have, maybe some of your opinions on this. Anyone else? People who've spoken, very good. We'd love you to speak, but किसी और session में, अभी let's give someone else the chance. So if someone wants, please can raise your hand. Mohit, okay, welcome to the party, Mohit. Start. You can, just let us know. What do you think? Should
Good
a
evening.
like effect of AI on employment opportunities? What do you think about
Good
it?
evening. Yes. So AI has just started in this field, and AI will grow even more. I think
Hmm.
the new models are being trained regularly, and it will impact jobs. It will cut some jobs, but we have to understand this what the human history has been about. When
Can
computer
you be
came,
a bit loud, Mohit? I think there's some
sorry. Can you hear me now, sir?
better.
Yes, like I was saying, like when computer came, they cut many jobs, but at the same time, they opened fields to many new industries and created even more jobs with the time in the correct manner. The same will happen with AI. It will take some jobs at first, the repetitive jobs. It will open the market for creative thinking, and people have to start adjusting to that. They have to learn more. As we know, without learning, we cannot progress. And this is what market is all about. Changing market
That's a
changes.
perfect way to go about it, Mohit. Great, amazing work. I'll have to cut you short. थोड़ा सा we are
Yes,
like exceeding the time limit. Right.
yes, sir.
Vaibhav also has a point that not find technology like that. Yeah, that is also a nice thing that Vaibhav has put in the chat. But again, a very interesting point of view that Mohit has, that machines they came and took jobs, computer they came and took jobs, but it's like कि ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ they took jobs, they created a lot new jobs. So similarly, when AI is there, कि Paytm has laid off people, more than 1,000 employees at one go. There are a lot of companies who are laying off people at it's like accelerated rate you would dream of in normal times. But then whenever you write about this, it's a very good and a positive outlook from it. Amazing. And even Vaibhav has done a great thing. It's fine. Like, there'll be jobs. How you can leverage AI and do your job in a perfect manner. But then you have to acknowledge that there are jobs that are being lost. People are not engineering graduates, or people are not, there are people who don't have a degree, right? For people who have a very basic degree, that they are not someone who will be pursuing MBA, so they won't know कि ठीक है वो कहाँ पे, or they won't be in pursuing a technical degree. So you have to empathize with them. यहाँ एजुकेशन जहाँ तक नहीं पहुंचा, people जहाँ upskill नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, उनके लिए क्या हो? That's one of the things. Now, second thing is like it's very easy for you and me, people who are in their 20s, to come out and say कि यार upskill कर लेते हैं. There will be a lot of opportunities. But then you have to maybe take a few steps back, take a 360-degree. Yeah, what about the people in their 50s? What about the people in their 40s, late 40s, who have worked on a different technology altogether and a different pedagogy process, operational things altogether? You come out and then tell them, ये ले लो, Firefly use कर लो, या use any other technology, and just adapt to it. So थोड़ा सा you have to see both sides. You can be very lean towards one, कि नहीं बहुत अच्छा है, but then you take a step back and then think यार बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो इससे there are some issues with AI, जिसको आप acknowledge कर रहे हो. Then you can say there can be special things to help them upscale. There should be government initiatives to put it in the mainstream and stuff. तो आपको थोड़ा सा ब्रॉड माइंडेड होकर इनके बारे में सोचना चाहिए. इट्स नॉट ओनली नोइंग अबाउट द टेक्नोलॉजी, बट ऑल्सो अफेक्ट ऑफ इट ऑन ईच एंड एवरी प्लेयर इन द मार्केट. मतलब वहाँ पे यू आर नॉट द ओनली वन यूजिंग जॉब, राइट? समवन इन योर फैमिली द एज ऑफ 40s 50s वो भी जॉब करता है. Someone who is going to retire in a few years वो भी जॉब कर रहे हैं. They won't be able to बहुत ज़्यादा option right. Cool. I think more or less we've covered
Can I
it.
say something?
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir. My name is Anurag. As my last year project was on digital marketing, which is digital technology, which is related to AI. What I have observed is there is a mixed expression of scary things. So what will AI impact? But the second thing, what we have observed is rather than it is scaring about it, I think it is helping us to build ourselves or to improve ourselves. As my project on was digital twins, it was sponsored project. The thing that we have observed that it was helping them to improve their products or improve their product quality, rather than there was no scare of something like we have to lose something jobs or the thing. The expression was mixed, the opinion was mixed, but what I think was it was moreover helping for people. Yeah, AI is helping people.
It is definitely help. There are great amount of use cases that are there. I mean, because of that only, most of us on the call have used ChatGPT. I don't think any of us would have missed that ChatGPT wave that's still going on by the way. That's a very small use case that we are blessed to have. There are a lot of ways AI is helping hospitals, medical cases, engineering cases, a lot of microsurgery. So like we plan to like undergo to AI. So yeah, obviously there's both sides of the argument. But हाँ, थोड़ा सा अपना you have to take a view. Constricted, narrow view नहीं लेके चलना है. You don't have to be like a horse. Both sides you are covered up and you just see, whatever you want to see. You need to put out those, facts and see कि ठीक है. There's a world apart from there जिसको पता भी नहीं है क्या होता है. That's the best part. तो थोड़ा इस context में again we go through a bit of ऐसा debate है, but then think about it. आपके पास टाइम रहता है 20 minutes ब्रेक करो. Take a few minutes to think, take a few minutes to write. And after the first 3 minutes, आपके पास एक broad structure होगा. Take up 1 more minute, आप 4 मिनट ले लो. Structure उसके बाद से आप start करोगे. You know कि ठीक है आप introduction ऐसा जाएगा, body ऐसा जाएगा, ये ऐसा. If you take a pen and start writing from the word book, things will go, as a start. आप नहीं समझ पाओगे कि where do you go off from, where आपने body में confuse कर दिया, you like it. तो थोड़ा सा हाँ बाबू, we will be like providing you with that assignments. Proper topics वगैरह भी हम देंगे. तो उस पर जब भी तुम practice करो तो we'll be getting a lot of knowledge कि क्या सही है क्या गलत. खुद के बैठ 20 मिनट लिखने के बाद 1 घंटे बाद पढ़ना, तुरंत मत पढ़ना. 1 घंटे बाद पढ़ोगे then you'll disassociate yourself from the bad. Then you'll see, like analyze it from a third party view. यार क्या गलत था. Be critical of yourself. Hemant, you raise your hand. Yes, please.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you audible.
Yeah, I'm just curious about one thing. So is it okay to say that it's always better to include 3 or 4 points of the other side of the coin when you're mentioning 7 to 8 points on one side of the coin? Is it a good thumb rule?
You won't be able to mention, the number that you mentioned, 10 and 4. बहुत ज़्यादा है. Maximum 3 से 4 points आप ले पाओगे those में. It's always good to acknowledge कि what the thing is कि एक आधा point थोड़ा सा इधर का ले लो. It's fine. Because यहाँ पे आप ambiguous नहीं sound करोगे, आप यहाँ पे ऐसे flirted नहीं sound करोगे. It will be कि the person is considering, the person knows and acknowledges. This is something that the uh, supporters say, this is something that the opponents say, this is something that the proponents say. If you acknowledge that fact, you come out as a person who is aware of things, who acknowledges things, who has empathy. And because when you mention that सामने वाला ये बोल रहा है, ये चीजें होती है, लार्जर ग्रुप में ये ज्यादा बेटर है इस टाइप से, right?
Understood. Thank you.
Any other question? There's one thing that I want to say. There was one question last year. He, no, if you are asked to write, okay, if you're asked to write, let's get back to the monetization. Is it good or bad? Where do you pronounce your argument that yes, it's good or yes, it's bad? I think someone asked it a few minutes ago also. So there are ways. The easiest way out of it कि आप अपना introduction दो, body लिखो, body में ही कहीं पता चल जाएगा कि कि you are pro or con. आप like pro हो या फिर you don't like it. और आप conclusion में लिख दो कि हाँ ठीक है, these are because of these reasons I support demonetization. I believe it was a good move. There are people who like to write their stance first, build upon it in the introduction. Demonetization was good for the country. And why I will believe in this is because of the following. Then they put the points. वो उनका introduction बन जाता है. Body में फिर वो points के बारे में लिखते हैं. यार phasing out of fake currency, terrorism to fund मतलब currency वगैरह ऐसा printing इन सब टाइप की चीजें. उसके बाद से they might mention कि ठीक है ATM पे लानी चाहिए, but there's a small price to pay for a large change. ये ऐसी चीज थी कि अगर मैं पहले बता देता तो it would have been a chaotic scenario. It was a chaotic scenario nonetheless. But then you have to mention these things out there, like थोड़ा सा clearly. अगर आप पहले ही intro में अपना बता रहे हो stuff, it's always safe to it in the conclusion. But then if you have that clear of writing and if you feel in like the way that I want to express it, I want कि सामने वाले को context हो कि मुझे तो अच्छा लगता था या नहीं, या रशिया यूक्रेन में I feel Ukraine is a good party or a bad party, leave your election, कोई ऐसा दिक्कत नहीं है, but then you have to maintain that. वहाँ पे आप बहुत कम डिप्लोमेटिक, उसके बाद से लास्ट में जाते आते फिर अगेन you just reassert. This is the reason. For example, अगर आपसे पूछा जाए sir, who is your favorite batsman? Abstract question. You can start, Sachin is my favorite batsman. And then you keep on writing, okay, he made a lot of centuries, he had amazing average, he's played a lot of matches for the country, won a lot of stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. Then in the conclusion, because of this, I feel Sachin is the best batsman that our country has. Or who's the best batsman? You can say, the batsman is pillar of a team. There have been, many batsmen in different eras. Literally, by Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, X, Y, Z. Then you say, why I feel, these all have contributed to the matches. They have been man of the matches and stuff and stuff. But I feel body में आप बताओ कि सचिन is one of the best batsmen because फिर आप बहुत बार हुआ कि आप पूरे बॉडी में भी आप बताते जाओगे कि यार देवर टाइम जब सचिन टाइम में बताया, आप डायरेक्टली बोल नहीं रहे हो कि he's the best batsman. They keep on speaking about his laurels. And then you say, this is the reason why I believe Sachin is the best batsman. So this is how, कहीं भी आप conclude कर सकते, मतलब conclude नहीं, कहीं भी आप stance ले सकते हो, but then you'll have to justify it with the flow that you are creating. और ये practice करोगे, you will be able to do that in a perfect manner. I think after the session, कल या परसों we will share a list of topics and then you can start like going up. Okay, so if you have any more questions, I think we can discuss in the next 5 or 7 minutes, and then we can conclude this session completed. So if anyone कुछ मेरे को यार चैट्स बहुत ज़्यादा आ गए हैं, तो अगर आप अनम्यूट करके पूछ लोगे तो ज़्यादा आसान होगा मेरे लिए आंसर करना. एनीबॉडी? शुरू हो गए क्या सब लोग? हाँ यार आशीष, यस.
Before, hi sir, good evening.
गुड इवनिंग.
Before started writing a PAT, can we practice like writing articles? Because articles also we give both point of views and body, conclusion is there, body is there, and introduction is there. We can start by that also by reading some articles and all.
That's it, sir, but it's not very much recommended because 2 3 reasons. एक तो बहुत टॉप ऑफ द माइंड रीजन है कि आर्टिकल्स आर अ बिट एलैबोरेटेड, ठीक है, 500 अब आपको छोटे मिले, सर यू हैव टू लाइक राइट इट इन ब्रीफ, concise, clearly. आर्टिकल में पीपल टेंड टू गेट एलैबोरेटेड, अब बह जाते हो आप, वो नहीं करना है. इसीलिए मतलब दैट्स व्हाई इट्स नॉट recommended, but yeah, if you feel कि you will settle down from an article to a short like bat type of thing, maybe you can do that, but it's not something that we recommend to a lot of people. If you want to take that approach, maybe try it for a few days, see if it works for you. Like different thing works for different people. Definitely give it a try. If you feel that it can take it. But then I have this reservation against it. कि यार what if कि यार 400 500 वर्ड लिखने का आदत है आपको, अब आप कहाँ पे किस रेशियो में कम करोगे, कहाँ कहाँ कितने वर्ड्स हटाओगे, अपना कैलकुलेट करोगे. So it's better to start writing like smaller 250 words. उसी में you keep on optimizing as you practice and go. Cool.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And Priyanshu?
Good evening, sir. So, sir, from this whole session, what I just got is like for writing anything, we have four main things: the opening statement or the opening introductory part, then positive, negative, and the conclusion of the opinion. Right, sir? Like the overall the thing of writing.
Can you repeat? I just lost you in the middle.
So what I got from the whole session is I was saying, for the any topic we just write any introductory part, then we go for the positive and negatives, and at the last we just go for conclusion of what we have the opinion regarding the topic.
Not exactly. In the middle also you can give your opinion, as you said. When you're saying about positives and negatives, it all formulates out of the opinion that you have. Like if you have that opinion, that's such in the best facts maybe. So the positives you'll highlight more positives. Negatives में आप बोल दोगे कि ठीक है इतना सक्सेसफुल कैप्टन नहीं था, या थोड़े मोड़े नेगेटिव्स बोल दो एक आना, बट वहीं पे आपको ओपिनियन पता चल जाता है, राइट. तो आप स्टांस और ओपिनियन वहीं पे लेते हो. कंक्लूजन में इट्स मोर लाइक what is conclusion, हल्का summarize करना a few and then give a proper ending भी, ठीक है ना, that this is the reason why I support such thing, in spite of what the critics would say, I am from believer in such and stuff and stuff. These types. It's not always positive and negative.
Okay, sir.
Eamon?
Hello, sir. Audible?
हाँ.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned that some topics will be provided on which we will be able to practice. So, I was wondering if you could please elaborate on how are we supposed to evaluate how we have done after writing each of these WAT points. So, a couple of points on that. And another thing I wanted to ask is, at the start of this session, you did say that if there are a lot of points in the head, and if they are in a chaotic sense, you should always write it down, and with practice you will get to reorder and articulate it better. So I understand that with practice obviously this would go better, but since the time we have is very less, so any point on how we can boost on that? Thank you.
So yes, समय तो यार समय का अभाव सबके पास है. So it's fair ground for everyone. It's like sub लोग, like everyone who's preparing for pay across the country, same time. If you want to boost it up, do more practice. I think यार दिन के एक नहीं, दो लिखो, तीन लिखो. बिकॉज प्रायोरिटी आपको कैसे पता चलेगा? either number one you are a subject matter expert, number two you've read quite a lot about, ठीक है आपको पता है कि ये चीज लिखूंगा तो हिट करेगा ना कुछ कुछ टॉपिक्स पे, बट देन हेमंत देयर आर लॉट ऑफ टॉपिक्स दैट यू माइट बी कवरिंग, या हो सकता है एक महीने में कवर ना भी, बिकॉज कैट में कुछ भी मतलब वैट बीआई में कोई भी टॉपिक आ जाता है, तो यू शुड हैव द एबिलिटी टू ग्रास्प कि भाई यू कैन टेक अ फ्यू सेकंड्स टू अंडरस्टैंड कि यार ये तो मेरे को पता नहीं है बट अब इस पे भी लिखना है और इस पे भी प्रायोरिटाइज करना है, तो वो एबिलिटी जनरेट करना है अपने को, वो एबिलिटी टू प्रायोरिटाइज, एबिलिटी टू ये, तो ये ऐसा मिरेकल होके बूस्ट नहीं होगा, बट हाँ डेफिनेटली इफ यू कैन प्रैक्टिस मोर, get it reviewed by a lot of people. For example, you share with us, all the mentors in the group, or you can share group पे ही डालो, ask your people who are learning with you, उनसे ही पूछो कि यार बता मेरे को क्या दिक्कत है, तो मेरा पीओवी फॉर अ सर्टेन आर्टिकल कैन बी वन, सुधांशु सर का कैन बी वन, योर लाइक बैचमेट्स इनका देते कैन बी वन, तो जितने क्रिटिक्स आपको मिलेंगे एक राइटअप के, टेक लाइक ओपिनियन फॉर 5-6 people, यू कैन गेट कि हाँ ठीक है, अगर कुछ रिकरिंग चीजें आ रही हैं कि यार तू सही से कंक्लूड नहीं कर रहा है, मैं भी बोले 3-4 लोग बोल दिए, फिर मेरे पॉइंट्स अलग है, किसी पॉइंट्स अलग है, बट तुम्हें नाउ यू नो कि कंक्लूजन पे मेरे को काम करना है, तो जो थर्ड एंड फोर्थ आपके वैट में ही कंक्लूजन अच्छा आने लगे, सो दिस इज समथिंग दैट यू कैन डू टू बूस्ट और एक्सपेडाइट इट, बट देन वही है एफर्ट आपका लगना ही है इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ इट। अरुण,
Understood.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
yes you are.
So, sir, I want to discuss my approach for writing some essays or that. So, first, what I do is write some introduction about what the topic is, and then uh, I decide my stance very early while writing. So, if I am against it or I am in favor of it, then I already have decided it. So, if I write some points like say if demonetization was bad, so if I starts with like how demonetization was good, and then I built against those points like why I think it's bad. So is it a self contradictory approach, or I want to ask you, is it a good approach or what?
That's a very good question. You don't want to, get tangled in your own web of words. So when you mention कि ठीक है ना, स्टार्टिंग में आपने बता दिया कि आप सपोर्ट में, नाउ आप सपोर्ट में होना या आप ये करना कि हाँ ठीक है, दिस वाज अ वेरी गुड थिंग, व्हेन यू मेंशन कि हाँ देयर वर सम नेगेटिव्स, इट डज नॉट मेक यू सेल्फ कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी, हाँ आप एकदम ही चले जाओगे कि यार इकोनॉमी ही खराब कर दिया डिमोनेटाइजेशन, अब आपने सपोर्ट में लिख दिया ऊपर में, अब लिख दो कि बर्बाद कर दिया यार इकोनॉमी, जीडीपी खत्म हो गया, ये हो गया, एकदम कुछ भी बहुत नेगेटिव लिख दिया, नहीं, बैलेंस नेगेटिव लिखना है यार अपने को, ठीक है, मतलब देवर लाइन्स ऐसा था, दिक्कत हुई लोगों को, दिस कुड हैव बीन अवॉइडेड, एज या व्हाट इज इट, एक्सट्रीम्स, एक्सट्रीम्स अवॉइड करो, कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी तभी होगी कि अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि सचिन तेंदुलकर इज द बेस्ट बैट्समैन, फिर बोल रहा हूँ कि अरे यार उसको तो 20 डक्स थे या नर्वस 90 में आउट हो जाना था, ये ऐसा ऐसा, तो लगेगा भाई तू कर क्या रहा है, या तो सपोर्ट कर या तो नहीं कर, इस टाइप से, बट मैं बोलूँगा कि हाँ मतलब यार there were some pitches that he wasn't able to play on. Maybe he wasn't that good in Australia. I don't know if that's it. But I think if he's not that good in Australia, there were some critics who said that. But over and all, in his 20 years of career, he did outplay a lot of great like bowlers and stuff. So you have to say कि हाँ ठीक है ये negative था, acknowledge करो, but then you have to maybe write a line or a point. think यार there was a greater good somewhere. कि ठीक है मतलब दिक्कत हुई, but then देश की इकोनॉमी भी सुधरी, जिसके कारण maybe there was a lot of terrorist attacks that was like stopped. But तो वहाँ पे मतलब it's not self contradictory if you like play it beautifully. If you start going out and writing schemes, but the one.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? I think someone did ask about political leanings and stuff. If a question asks you to take a side, left or right, तो क्या करना है? वहाँ पे is the time when you start playing diplomatic. कि भाई ठीक है, for example, if someone talks about Babri, Ram Mandir, or if someone talks about Israel Palestine, तो इन सब चीजों में it's better to take a like neutral course of observation कि ठीक है हाँ ये चीजें हुई थी बट अभी ये बुरा है ये सही है गलत है हाँ अगेन वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन पे भी वन बट वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन इज काइंड ऑफ अ टॉपिक जहाँ पे यू कैन हैव फॉर और अगेंस्ट वाला चीज इट्स फाइन बिकॉज बहुत सारा एंटी पॉलिटिकल चीज है इसमें कॉस्ट आ जाता है people's right to vote and choose for every 5 years accountability of politician यहाँ आप लेफ्ट राइट से ऊपर उठ के सेंटर से ही किसी भी साइड पे मार सकते तो इट्स वेरी सेफ वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन बट reservation for that matter if reservation was good or bad तो यहाँ पे you have to tread carefully you cannot just go out on a limb and say कि यार it's good or it's exactly someone said it is divisible but तुम्हें भी थोड़ा ऐसे बैलेंस थॉट्स वहाँ पे दिखाने के these are the things यहाँ पे you have to tread a neutral line these are not zero or one kind of people have different opinions it might आप मन में आप सपोर्ट कर रहे हो या फिर आप नहीं कर रहे हो fine आप जब लिख रहे हो तो यू थिंक फ्रॉम पर्सपेक्टिव कि समवन हुज रीडिंग इट हैज हैड एक्सपीरियंसेस 20 साल से वो टीचिंग में है वो पढ़ा रहे हैं लोगों को वो सोसाइटी बहुत देखे हुए हैं उनका एक थॉट प्रोसेस अलग है तो आपके एक्सट्रीम्स से ज़्यादा वो खुश होंगे कि आप एक ट्रेड मिडिल लाइन ट्रेड करो इवन इफ दे हैव अ लीनिंग टुवर्ड्स एनी ऑफ द साइड दे विल बी हैप्पी कि ठीक है ना यहाँ पे इसने डिप्लोमेटिक खेला है एंड दे विल बी वेरी what do you say appreciative of that fact cool any more questions I think we lost 55 again so if you have any more questions we can go on otherwise we just close the session okay cool so I guess it's the end of the session thank you so much for joining if you have any doubts or any query that you have pertaining to VAT do like let us know in the group. Maybe you can reach out to Sudhanshu sir or me. I think I'm still not added to all the groups. But once I'm there, you can obviously like DM me or whatever. And then maybe we can like start. Cool. All the best and do well. The key is to practice. Keep that in mind, and nothing happens without practice. And we will be there with you along the way the next 30, 40 days to make sure that you are like well prepared for it. You are ready to, मैं तो बोलता हूँ फोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो तो यस लाइक एकदम अपने को फोड़ना है ना तो अपने को एकदम बहुत ही सॉलिड परफॉर्मेंस देना है कैट में तो कर दिया आपने लाइक बैट किया है लाइक लेट्स फोड़ो कूल चलो ऑल द बेस्ट बाय गुड नाइट